Welcome to tonight's Landscape Lenscast Podcast. We are talking photography. We are showing pictures.
Good evening, guys. Welcome to another Landscape Lenscast Podcast with Paul Cunningham and Steve Stain. Louise Welcome, Dougie Milne, and Darren Muirhouse. Now, tonight we're actually joined by guest panellist Tom Mackie. Now, Tom Mackie is a renowned landscape photographer for his exceptional use of colour and light in his captivating work. And he obtained a degree in commercial photography from Los Angeles. And when he moved, of course, to when he moved to UK in 1985. He's working now as a full-time landscape photographer. He has received numerous awards and recognitions and authored several books, which I do suggest you have a look at these books. And also, of course, he conducts workshops to share his skills with inspiring photographers. So it's worthwhile just have a look at his website and visiting and seeing Tom's work as well. I'm sure it will motivate you very, very much. So we're going to go around people, but firstly, what we're going to do, instead of actually going around and asking each one what they've been up to, I'm just going to put it out there. Has anybody been up to anything decent? And if you have, you shall speak.
When you say decent, Darren's got something.
I'm not talking decent as in clothing.
No, I got nice and wet today. A nice waterfall, let's say.
That's okay. Right, so you're wet. You have got an image you put up on social media tonight, and I quite liked it as well. Just tell us more about the image.
That image, that's the Goblin's Lair.
Okay.
Yeah, I went back there just to got a geared head to try out. So I did a bit of review, but got sort of taken in with the woodland and drawn into more or less that. So yeah, the geared head review went more or less into the woodland. Let's say it was a touch of both. So yeah, that was quite interesting.
Yes, it makes so much of a difference using a gearhead in it. We have covered this on the channel before, but it's just so you can actually precision shooting. You can actually shoot and you can home into your subject.
The thing was, when I did it from the very beginning. I've never used a gearhead before. I've always been a ball head man. Really? Straight there, and it was the first time using it. So yeah, it just added that little bit of something. And I'm quite taken away with it of how precise it was.
Yes.
And hands-free. It was one hand to move. For woodland, it was fantastic.
Yeah, it makes you think more about your composition as well, doesn't it? Because you kind of you can just kind of tweak it a little bit more left and right, film center, instead of moving the whole camera.
Yeah, for me, it was that having that other hand free. It was just great. Without getting all the camera and adjusting the ball head with two hands and stuff. It was eye-opening, let's say. A bit heavy, a bit heavier to what I'm used to.
Yeah, they are quite heavy.
As Steve calls me, the mountain goat going up stuff. So it's it got to work out today, that waterfall. Anyway, we'll see how rugged it is.
I think you'll find as well that you'll start using your longer lens more because you're in control of it.
Yeah,
because you got
creep, does it? There's no lens creep.
It doesn't creep, but you don't get frustrated. So you tend to. I'm definitely tending to use the longer lens more and more and more. It's sort of my go-to lens now. So
yeah, because you can just pick things out, and you can. It's kind of more of a slower photography, isn't it? You just sit back and you can just get your, if it's a 200 or whatever, sit back and just pick out points of interest. With a wider lens, you have to really work your composition because you have so much distraction. With as you know, as a teleport lens, you can just zoom in, pick things out, and crop it to where you want it, really, just so you can miss out a lot of distractions.
This afternoon at that this morning at that waterfall, it were all wide angle.
Nice. Oh, nice.
Change lens. I didn't really want to change lens because it was absolutely belting it down. And I had my wellies on, still got wet, and ended up my backside sitting in it.
Nice.
You don't have weights.
All the best people sit in a waterfall somewhere. Lovely.
I didn't mean to. I just
lovely.
So you don't have weights then?
No, I don't have waders.
Right. Okay.
No, I don't have waders.
So anyway, anyone else got anything interesting to say?
I went to Petworth House and I went to go and shoot not of the bang bang variety deer, and I took my 100 to 400 with an extender, and it was useless. And I have a photo buddy, Tom, that I go out with, and he's very, very good. And I just hang along and smile a lot and do whatever smiling people do. Ben, and he borrowed my husband's 800mm lens and got some cracking shots. And it was blooming rubbish. However, I have got a video out of it. Basically, we did a new slot called Ben Talks Geek. He said to me that no man would say it's geek. Every man would go, that's sensible. And I showed it to my husband, and he said, oh, it's very sensible. And I thought, oh God, this is where the genders might differ.
Ben, if you're watching, come on. You come onto our podcast.
He could talk geek for well over an hour at you lot.
So, anybody else? Doug, what have you been up to?
Yeah, well, I was up at Oban last Friday, in fact.
Nice.
Quick shot at the Ferry Bridge.
Oh yeah.
Very nice. And yes, I got a wet bum there as well. Thank you very much. The waterfall.
Nice.
It's getting to be habit forming, I think. And where else did I go after that? Oh, I went up Ben Laura, which is one of the hills next to Oban. And caught the sunset from there. And that was my first time using a geared head as well.
Oh, right.
Funnily enough, yeah.
All right, okay.
I was taking a pano across. I mean, it was a rubbish sunset, but I was just using it because I could. Taking a pano across the mull, basically across the water, and it's fantastic. Just the wee tweak, you can get it moving around without moving anything else.
Four turned.
What's that?
4 turned. That's it.
It depends on your lens. Yeah. It depends on your. I've sussed that out. A long lens, less turns.
Yeah.
But it's great for panos. Fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So Tom, welcome to the channel.
Thank you.
Great. We've been waiting for a while to get you on, and thank you for agreeing to come on. And we know the type of photography you do. We just covered a little bit of a snippet of your photography life, but for people who don't know you, which I'm sure most people do, tell us more about your work and what type of photography you enjoy most.
Well, I mainly landscape. But I love doing architecture as well. So,
okay.
As a travel photographer, I'm always looking for interesting landscapes, unusual landscapes, and unusual architecture. So, earlier this month, I got back from Finland and Norway, doing workshops there, and took the group up in Norway. We took the group up to a location that I scouted out on a previous trip. And I was wondering if we were actually going to make it this time because there was so much more snow. We were pretty much, up to our waist in snow. We made it up this viewpoint. And I told the guys, I said, look, I guarantee nobody else has shot this. And we stood there and it was cloudy. And I thought, let's just wait this out. We've got nothing else better to do. This is what landscape photography is all about, is waiting and being patient. And we watched the clouds starting to separate and then pick up color behind the lower clouds. And I thought, okay, this could be good. Let's hope these blow out by sunset. And then the whole sky erupted. And we're overlooking this fjord with the mountains in the background. And it's those moments that you think, yeah, this is fantastic. I love being out, especially when you take a group there. And you've got so much pressure there's nothing you can do about the weather, but when you have conditions like that, it really makes it worth it.
Yeah, definitely. So certainly you caught it well, and also patience pays off, isn't it?
Yeah, oh yeah,
pays off. So Tom, we have been seeing your work, and I looked at your website, and of course, you've won a lot of awards and things. And in regards to your books, what type of I presume it's landscape predominantly. But what do you publish your own books, or would you do your books yourself?
No, I was first approached by a publisher years ago to do a book, and it was all about the grassroots of photography, of landscape photography, seeing the images and then taking them through to the composition, lighting, and breaking everything down to its basic elements and trying to create a powerful image. And so that was kind of a mix of landscape and architecture. Later books were primarily on landscape, but Yeah.
I mean, guys, we will certainly put a link to Tom's books as well down below if you're interested to see and purchase, of course. Tom does have a website with his books on, and also he does workshops. And your workshops in regards to, you're not just in UK, you do traveling around Europe as well, I've noticed. Is that correct? Yeah.
Quite a lot. Yeah. Actually, I'm
Yeah.
trying to put more UK workshops in. The UK workshops are very small, intimate workshops, 3 people max. And the foreign workshops usually a max of 6 people. I don't like doing large groups. And the last workshop I had a guy on there that said, yeah, I was on somebody else's workshop just recently and they had 10 people. He enjoyed it, but it was just like herding cats, he said. There was no spontaneity. You're driving down the road and you see some light and think, oh, got to stop real quick. By the time you get that whole group out and set up, the light's gone.
Yeah.
So I'm all about the experience in workshops. So I don't like to have large groups.
So one-to-ones, do you feel one-to-ones are, I mean, I can imagine you'll be good doing your one-to-ones in that case. I mean, I do agree with you in regards to when you get big groups, the time people set up the tripods and people they want to get the same composition as a person standing in the same place and everyone takes a turn, that kind of thing. Yeah, I can imagine that it could be quite kind of problemsome. I mean, regards to, Steve and Doug, Steve and Dan, they do workshops. Guys, I mean, when you actually go out, do you prefer doing one-to-one workshops, or what do you actually do? Is it more of a group thing, or?
Well, mine's more. It's pretty much all one-to-one, to be honest.
Yeah.
I would try and promote the group workshops at the end of this year, but where I live, I have to travel a good way, so my camper's off the road. So I'd design a workshop for like a long weekend or midweek, and I'd stop in the locations and all this, that, and the other. Preferably North Wales. I know North Wales quite a bit, but I just don't put them out there at the minute until I've got that sorted, to be honest. So, so it's all local one-to-one workshops.
Good. And one of the things, just for the viewers watching, what does a workshop give you?
What a workshop gives me?
Sorry, not you. What does it give the person that's starting out in photography? What does it give them?
Well, they're just the confidence to just go and shoot themselves, really. It depends on the person and what the experience is. I've had, where they're just newcomers, they just want to be with you and see how you go about things. There's a lady that I've taken out a couple of times where she's a full-on professional photographer, but in the NHS. So the art side of photography is not there for her. A photographer is excellent. She knows everything about the camera, all the settings, all the technical side, but it's that bit of art that she's missing, that bit of freedom, if you like, to express herself in photography. So and that's probably the hardest thing to learn, to be honest with you. But she just appreciates seeing your side of things, And but
I think
for
that's
me,
quite important. Yeah, being able to see through somebody else's eyes.
Yes,
which is what later on this year I've got one with Chris Frost and one with Shona for very different things. So I'm rubbish at woodlands, as you know, gentlemen. You lot are doing that all the time. I'm poor at that. I need to be able to get better because I'm just poor at that. And just with Shona, after she was on our thing, I just want to learn from the woman. And just sort of, Tom, I think you'll have people that I suspect are highly proficient, who just want to kind of almost like drain your brain and say, right, teach me that.
Yeah, I think it is important to actually shoot when you're with somebody.
Yes.
And you shoot alongside of them because I have a lot of friends that I've got one friend that says, no, I never shoot because I devote all my time to the client. Yes, but they want to see how you actually capture the image.
Yes.
How you're composing. So, for example, I was in Scotland one time and we were alongside of a river with a path leading in, overhanging trees in the autumn. And I was sitting right next to the client and I said, okay, go ahead and compose this how you would do it. And I'll do the same. And so then afterwards, he said, can I see your composition? Here we go. And he says, well, that's completely different from my composition. I never would have thought about using this line or this frame, and that is so much more valuable to show them hands-on of how you're actually putting an image together. And so I think, and I have heard horror stories where the leader will actually take off away from the group and do his own thing, which is not really the done thing. So
I use that sort of thing quite often, where we'll get to a subject, let's say, that we're both interested in shooting. Right, you're going to give them sort of 5 or 10 minutes to themselves as well, so they haven't got me over the shoulder looking at them and putting them under that pressure, so they feel more relaxed.
Yeah,
you get your shot, I'll get my shot, and let's compare them and work. And you'll learn off. It can be a newbie in photography, but you'll learn off them. The same as me.
Yeah, everyone's got that different eye, haven't they? That different ratio what they see. I mean, it's like you've said there, Tom. I do exactly the same with waterfall ones. I try and take the image at the side of them and constantly asking, can I see yours? How do you do this? How do you do that?
Yeah.
And that's how you build a relationship with the people in your workshop.
Exactly.
I think I'm a little bit guilty of sort of my job that I used to do. I used to take over on one of these gaffers that takes over. I can't help but sort of not just try and show them, but actually do it. And I've got to I'm trying to rein back more and more and more. But I'm one of these, let me just do this for you and do this, So I am a little bit.
One of these terrible managers that would never delegate. One of them.
Yeah, that's it. One of those. So, but it's nice to give what I don't want. And again, it depends on how long you've got the client for as well. If it's a quick sort of 2-4 hour workshop, it's totally different to having them for a day, 2 days, 3 days. So you work on totally different things, and you've got obviously a longer workshop. You've got a lot longer to give them that freedom, if you like. Where if you've got 2 hours, really, that what they want is as much information out of you as possible.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And one of the most powerful tools that you're taught, in teacher training college is how powerful it is to model, even if you're modeling your thought processes. And even if they just think, nah, that's not my bag at all, but you've taught them through what you're seeing, what you're interpreting, and why you've chosen to put things in, and then it's up to them to make an informed choice to ignore or to do it.
Exactly. And in group situations, when I have, say, a small group, we're all shooting in the same location, but I say, sometimes there is that classic shot, but spread out and try to create something different.
Yeah.
Then when we all look at each other's pictures, we'll have a review that night, and we'll go through the images. Wow, I never thought about shooting from that angle. And I often, I'll have somebody that will have the killer shot of the trip. And I had actually one of my best clients. We were in Normandy and Brittany a few years ago, and we were out there during some pretty wet conditions. But with wet conditions, you get drama. And we had a clearing storm with a rainbow. And, this guy, he's a lone shooter. I say, okay, we're going to go and we're going to shoot this. And he says, no, I don't want to shoot that. I'm going to go somewhere else. I say, okay, fine. I'll leave you to it. And sometimes it pays off, sometimes it doesn't, because I'll know the location and I'll say, okay, this is actually the best spot down here. And he'll go off and find something else and say, yeah, how'd it go? No, it wasn't that good. Okay, it's a learning process. Yes. But on this occasion, we were at Mont Saint-Michel, and he was in the right spot, and his composition was incredible, and he had the rainbow over the mount. And so I said, you definitely got the killer shot of the trip. And it's all about, trying different angles and walking around not following the rest of the people that are in your group, because you end up getting the same shots. So it's nice to try something different.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. And you're right. I mean, you can only show some good compositions, but some people may disagree. And you've got to take the negative for the positive in these trips, don't it? And you will get.
I think you could learn so much more from the fact. Well, you will learn so much more from failing on an image, but trying to compose it and understanding why you're failing and getting the killer shot. You turn up, you get the shot. You've learned nothing.
Yeah.
But you get a shot where you've worked it, and you work it, and it just doesn't work. But you'll get more away from that than what you will that quick click and done.
But see, a couple of years ago, I went on a one-day photography trip with somebody I've been with several times. I love his work. And the moment that made me go, oh, for me, was when the person picked up my tripod, put it in a certain place. I've got the setting, and I was like, whoa, hang on, because I wasn't at the shot that they thought I should be at. And I'd set myself up to do something a little bit different. I was quite proud of it. And I knew I'd just got one go to do it. And the settings were there, etc. They even clicked the button. And I just stepped up and walked away, and then just picked up my tripod and walked away. But I've never had that before, and you learn absolutely nothing if someone does that. And I think essentially it was somebody who was very nervous that their clients may not get the shot that they perceived. And there's no doubt it was a banging shot that they took.
Yeah,
but I didn't even process it. I've still got it on a memory card somewhere, and I won't even look at it because that's not me. That wasn't me.
Yeah.
It's not your shot.
It's essentially their shot.
Yes.
And that's one thing I try never to do, is to touch clients' cameras. I'll point out, settings or whatever. There are times when I've become so frustrated where I just say, do you mind if I just make a little adjustment, watch what I'm doing?
Yeah.
And then have a look, and then see what I'm doing. And they go, yeah, fine. But I try not to do anything else. It's their image. They've got to create that image themselves.
Yeah.
But it's going through a process with them, isn't it? You're working with I'll always say to them, let's get an image, and then the next thought is, how can I improve that image?
Yeah.
Now, we might not be able to, but we've got all these tools. We've got different lenses. We can move forward, backward, side, left, right, use a different focal length, different apertures. We've got all these tools. What can we do to try and improve this shot? If we can't, then we've finished and we move on. And again, that's another process it's a good thing, because it actually slows you down as well, which we all talk about. You got to slow down. But it's just going through that process in your mind to try and improve it, and then working out, okay, we've tried everything, this is not working, but we know why now, because we've gone through all them steps to work out why. So that's another good.
Steve, you touch on a good point to slow things down. I wanted to ask everyone, how many of you have shot film?
Me.
A lot of time ago, yeah.
Yeah, mainly back in the 90s, actually.
Right. Large format or medium format, or
35 millimeter?
35 mil. Okay. I mean, I was predominantly large format, and it's a really slow process to make an image with that camera. But shooting film, it really does make you slow down and make sure you get the correct exposure and the correct light. Shooting large format transparencies isn't cheap, so I had to make sure I actually got that image how I wanted. And I think by the end of using large format, I was doing maybe 70% shoot rate, where I'm shooting in camera dupes as well, but with a spot meter. But now it's just so much easier. And but there is that a lot of people think, wow, gosh, it's not costing me anything, I'll just bang away until I get it right. And that's not the approach. That's not the approach to take. And that's what I like about large format, that it's actually structured me to slow down. And I've tried to carry that over with digital, because the last thing I want to do, or what anyone wants to do, is to sit and edit through thousands of images that you want to get that.
But you use them tools that you've got in front of you to get the best out of it, don't you? You use, if you can take multiple shots to get, it's a process. You can use them shots to get. It's a process to get the shot you want. You can take, the difference is you can take a shot, you can look at it live, think, right, what can I do to improve that? And so
exactly.
You've got that option, so you use them tools to your advantage. instead of
yeah.
just going bang, 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 you know,
Yeah.
and hope for
Yeah.
the best that
Yeah.
you've
Learn
got
from
it.
mistakes.
What I find I do is I'll take 7 or 8 shots, moving the camera around and whatnot, you know. Then when I bring them back, that's when I kind of compare them on the computer. Then, you know,
Yeah.
what I mean? And I usually find it's maybe the second or third shot of them all is the one which is the one I want to keep, you know.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those
It's
things.
good asking yourself why, isn't it? Why
Yeah.
do I like that one?
Yeah.
Why is it
exactly.
better
Yeah.
than that one?
It's more a case of what's wrong with the others. That's the way I tend
Yeah.
to.
Getting
Can't have
back,
that one. Can't have that one. So process of elimination is number 3. You know.
yeah, getting
I
back to the
was-
point.
I was
Sorry.
talking. I was talking to a colleague, a friend of mine that does is a full time, and he was quietly saying to me that it's equally awkward the other way, because he says he every now and then has certain clients who are repeaters, who actually want that shot, and if they don't get that shot or they don't know how to get that shot, they step back and just say, dial in the settings for me, and I'll just press the button, and you just and
Oh,
you know, and they will take credit's not the right word for it, but they will put it up on their socials as if it's their work. And
Yeah.
I think, and I said, but why do you allow that to happen? He said, because I'll get a bad review otherwise if we're not careful. And he says,
Yeah.
but I'm very, very careful that I don't, you know, I'm kind of, I will separate out almost my clients. So this one client will sit at the place, watch me, put exactly right next to me. And he said, I'll deal with that. And then I'll go and do everything else with my other clients. And I just thought that's frightening, actually, that we're in a
It is.
situation where people
Yeah.
have that much power over you.
Yeah, definitely. It shouldn't be that way, isn't it? I mean, going back to the point that Dan said about the 25mm camera, I remember, you know, like we had, if you're obviously doing post-processing, in this case in the darkroom, then things were slower and obviously you take your time. But sometimes I would use, for the sake it was using a spool back in the 90s, and you really had to think about your shot more because you only had 35 or 36 in a spool. I think we said this before, I can't remember if I touched on this. And then of course, you had manual lenses, of course, as well. There's no autofocus or anything. So you're kind of really making sure you got to get sharp, etc. And you can't just wing it. You can't wing it. And every shot you got to think about, because you can't just fire off 25 or 15 shots just to get the image right. But there's a good 2 points there. There's 2 spectrums. What Steve said is you can keep taking shots and see where you went wrong. And there's a point where that Tom said when you're shooting film, you slow yourself down, and when you go back to digital again, you appreciate, you know, the process more because you're slowing down. So there is 2 aspects you can go there from each side. Definitely, film does help. I think about more about your composition, because you only have so much to take images with, depending, of course, what type of format you're using and all that kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, I think where I've got film cameras there, I've got spools up there, and I don't actually have a darkroom or anything. But if I wanted to take some pictures, then I wouldn't go out and just take a film camera with me just for sake of taking it. I'll go to a place where I know I'm going to get a good shot. I know the area well. I can get there fast, you know, and plan a shot. But yeah, I mean, it's right. I think as you're more experienced in photography, there's that point where less is more. Than, you know, you don't have to shoot, you know, all the time. Less is more, and it's
Exactly.
if you get one
You could
keeper that
always,
day, I
yeah,
think
you
it's a
can always
success.
challenge
Complete
yourself
success.
to set yourself a challenge. So
Yeah, exactly. Set yourself a challenge, and
I've only got 35 shots to take. You know, use that rule of 34 exposures, 35. I can only take 35 shots within a morning shoot. If you know, if you've got time to do that, especially if you know the area, if you do it locally and challenge yourself to do things like that, or even challenge yourself to use different lenses. You know,
take one lens out, only one lens.
One lens, or take one shot with all different lenses, but just work that one subject. And it's amazing what you can actually create from using all the tools in your bag.
It's thinking about what you've got at your disposal. I think most people's got the camera and just shoot and they make do what they've got. But if you think about what you've got, the tools at your arsenal, and how you can use them, and then just try to really focus on, no pun intended, but try to focus on what you've got, and then just to home in, as you guys are saying, just home in, slow it down, and just use one lens, maybe a 50mm lens for the whole. And we're using a 50mm lens, you're using your legs to zoom in and out, so you're moving your legs. You're not actually, you've got to think about your composition more. You can't frame it properly. You've got to move your body to frame it. So there's a lot of things you can do, and I think it does help the novice up there who's learning photography. Just don't go for autofocus all the time, and just put a lens on, a VR. Go out and actually use manual lenses. Try to up your game, like Steve said. Give yourself a challenge and try to make it difficult for yourself. Because when you make it more difficult, I guarantee you, if you keep me shooting, it'll get easier and easier, and then you'll start to think you'll get to be sublime. What you do, you'll start to do it effortlessly. We're not perfect. No photographer is perfect, but we always strive to get to be better.
Yeah.
That's
what
what the game is.
What I tend to do is, you've always got that subject, but I always look at it as it's not. You're including the subject, but it's what to exclude.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's what to exclude. That's what I try and get over to people.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, exactly. I think we've all got our own methods doing things, but especially what Tom says and Steve says, there's two different sides ends of the spectrum there, and both of them work in their own way. That's quite interesting as well, for people to learn off that. What we're going to do, guys, talking about taking pictures, we're going to be showing pictures. So we're going to stick some pictures up on the screen, and we'll just do a little intro. There's a bit of cheese.
It's time for that part of the show on Landscape Lenscast Podcast, where we all take a look at the images for this week from present and past.
Do you know you all take a drink at that point?
Yes.
Oh my
I
God.
wonder why.
You can't see it. You can't see that, can
I
you?
just put my hand over my face like this. No, just won't drink.
I wonder why that is.
Yeah, you want to talk me through this first shot, Tom?
Well, Paul, I chose this because I know you love trees.
Oh, yeah.
And I love photographing trees, especially single trees. So I think as landscape photographers, just correct me if I'm wrong, does everybody have their favorite tree when you're traveling down the countryside?
Yes.
You've got that tree that you go back to time and time again.
Ask Steve, he knows.
Yeah.
Steve?
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So you're looking at the conditions out, say at sunset, you think, oh, I'm going to head to my favorite tree. And this one isn't on my doorstep, but I came across this years ago in Tuscany. And one of my clients actually was from Rome, and I get a lot of IT people on my workshops, and I've learned that IT people are very precise and analytical. And he created a little booklet of places he wanted to photograph. And I'm looking through this booklet, and I said, "That looks like my shot." And he says, "Yeah, it is. I took it off your website." And he said, "I want to go there." And I said, "Okay." And I'm looking through, where is this? And he says, "Well, I'm not sure, but I've Googled Earth it, and I think I know pretty much where it is." Mm-hmm. And so I said, "Okay, we'll go search this out." Found the tree, and it is a very difficult one to find. You have to know where you're going. But I learned a little bit about it. It's the local villages refer to it as the fertility tree.
Okay.
And I don't really want to go into that.
Okay, so yeah, it's a romantic place for the
exactly, yeah. But in all the times I've been back to this, I've tried to create this image that I had in my mind, and the conditions never actually cooperate. Sometimes there was the wrong crop in the field. There were beans one year, not exactly the sort of image I wanted to create. But this particular year, I had a field of wheat, and you can see the leading line of the footpath up to the tree where everybody goes up to it. And I had the right clouds, and I wanted to incorporate the sunset with the tree. And that particular year, everything came together. And, I took a picture of my group there that I had photographing this scene. And I think that's on one of the pictures on my website. Because I thought, I love those moments when you keep going back time and time again to get that shot that you have in your mind. And when you can actually capture that, that's a really special moment.
Yeah.
Do you find when you get that, though, that it's an end as well, isn't it? It's almost a sadness because you've got the shot you want. Yeah.
It is until you think, well, can I improve on it? And I think as landscape photographers, you're always wanting to improve on the image that you shot the last. and especially in the same location like this. This was actually the best conditions I had. I'd been there several times. Unfortunately, with social media, and this is one reason why I stopped feeding social media, that it draws people to a location.
Mhm.
And I thought,
Yes, well
yeah,
done for saying.
I know
Well done for saying
everybody, and I probably should do social media. My daughter keeps saying, Dad, you've got to do social media. I said, yes. I didn't get anything out of it.
Okay,
It took a lot of time. And the only thing I saw it doing was drawing people to that location and ruining it.
Yeah.
So I thought, I want to stop doing that.
Yeah.
I'd been back to this place a few years ago, and the fence was chained up. So obviously the local landowner didn't like people going in. And I've heard and I've come across a lot of stories where locations will be ruined because of social media and because of people that don't respect the landscape and the property.
Yeah.
And it's such a shame, because I think as landscape photographers, we do respect the landscape on the whole.
Yeah.
But in sharing our images, which I love sharing my images, but I just felt I was ruining places.
Yeah.
And
there's a very fine line there, isn't there? You're right. And it's like, even when you want to show these images, there's the other half, like, when I'm going to forests, and I think Steve can identify it too. If you go into a woodland that's beautiful, and it's kind of, unless it's like a commercial plantation woodland, or a national park, etc., that's fine, because people know about that. But if you go to wild places, it's good just to keep that, keep it quiet. Don't put it on social media. Yeah, I agree with you.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But even so, I've done it on YouTube before, where I've put the image up and a video and not said where it is.
Yeah.
And the backlash you get from people not
yeah.
wanting to know where it is. And it can be a dangerous place. I mean, when I was shooting in that canyon, that were horrendous, but
Really? Yeah.
I'd hate for someone to go in there and it be flooded.
Yep. You're right. There's two ways you can look at it as well. It could be dangerous as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it's that kind of thing where I visualize people going to these places and getting their little selfie stick out, and they're taking pictures of each other, and then they've got the waterfall behind them, and then they slip on rocks and crack their head. When you're a photographer, I like to think most of photographers, we're kind of more mindful about where we go, and we plan things more. We can make sure we avoid kind of dangerous situations where people think, oh, I've seen that picture. Oh, we'll go there. We'll put it in the sat nav over, and we'll go. And then they don't realise there's a big decline to get down there, and they still do it. But yeah, 100%. But going back to the image, the clouds are absolutely amazing. I love these clouds.
Tom, I was there in May, and it was one of those places that at that time of the year we had, in theory, mist in the morning, and then really blue skies, and then nothing, and then all of a sudden the clouds would come in the afternoon behind it, sort of framing it, and it is absolutely in the middle of nowhere, and the
you've been to this location.
I have indeed.
So is it still fairly accessible or not?
Yes, it certainly was.
Good.
It was in May, put it that way, and there was not a single car that went past us.
That's good.
And except, so we were right at the edge of the field. And I would say there was a horse tour that literally went straight up the middle, round the tree and back down. And there was 4 or 5 horses with people on the back of it. And I just thought that was something I wasn't expecting. I was expecting other photographers, but this is beautiful. I just wasn't there at the right time. It's such a special place.
That is, yeah. No, I know. The other place in Tuscany that. It was funny. There was the last year I did a workshop in Tuscany, pulled into the hotel, and I said, "Oh, there's Charlie. Charlie, wait." He was just pulling in. Were you with Charlie?
No, but you're going to say the chapel. It took me ages.
And one of my clients said, "Oh, I'd like to meet him. I'm a fan." And I said, "Okay, I'll come and introduce you." And so I had a brief chat with Charlie about wildflowers. He said, "Have you found any wildflowers?" I said, "Well, yeah, at Belvedere." And he said, "Well, can you show me on the map?" I said, "Charlie, you were the one responsible for increasing the income of tourism in this part of Italy.
Yeah.
And he's very humble. And but it is amazing, though, that one photographer can have that impact on a place. But that particular year, there was a person of I won't say what nationality, but you can kind of guess. You go out there at 5 a.m. There is a farm just below the field, and the Alsatians would come out. They bark at you. They go back, and that is the usual thing. And I'm sure the farmer is tired of it, but this particular person went down into the farmyard where he shouldn't have gone, and the farmer came out, called the police, and he said, "That's it. I've had enough. I'm roping off the field." And it's such a shame that when I talk about people that don't really respect the landscape, it ruins it for everybody else, and it's such a shame. But no, that particular year, though, there was a field right next to that had a tremendous amount of wildflowers with Belvedere in the background. Incredible. So, Louise, how did you? What sort of wildflowers did you have when you were there?
None.
None
at all. No, absolutely. Except on the forgive me, the Covelli. There was, so I was there about 4 weeks after Mads Peter Iversen, and my colleagues are going to go, "Oh no, she stalks the man." I don't, but just I happened to be going at that point in time, and so the higher vantage point in the road from the Covelli, we had some lovely mist there, but there was some poppies there. But when I was there weren't, and it was as you're showing here. There was very few. What you saw in the background as you were going south from San Carico d'Orcia, you were towards the Covelli. You were seeing pockets in the background, but it wasn't anything you could really access.
Right.
I was just about 2 weeks too late. But in this location, none.
Yeah, it's funny
I think I was about 2 or 3 weeks too late because I have to rely on school holidays, Boo.
Oh, right.
Which means it's just the wrong timing, but it's just stunning.
Okay, we'll move to the next picture, guys, and see what we've got next. That's stunning. Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's lovely, is that?
It's solitude, definitely there.
Yeah.
Just talk us more about this shot, Tom. Is that a drone shot? Or is it...
This is shot from a seaplane.
Really?
And
Nice.
I was coming back from one of the islands in the Maldives. And I thought, well, I'll just shoot whatever passes through the window. And so I covered myself up over the window to cut out all the reflections. And when this appeared, I couldn't believe it. And as you're flying, you only have a few seconds to shoot. So you've got to shoot very quickly. And I managed to get off 2 compositions. I thought, I want to angle this so that I've got the lines at an angle going diagonals through the frame. It wasn't until later when I inspected the image that I saw the kayak at the top of the island.
Yeah, I just noticed that.
That's great, is that?
And then just over to the very far right of the frame, you can see a couple of snorkelers.
Yeah.
But when I saw that, I thought, this is going to sell, because one palm tree on a little island like this is definitely going to be a seller. And it has sold really well.
I don't know if you guys can see the snorkelers there. Just get the mouse.
Yeah.
I can't move it on this, can I? You can see it, yeah. Just because it's at the far end right. Yeah.
I've spotted them now, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lovely shot, that. Really does kind of put solitude into its perspective there, doesn't it?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
So I've got a question for everyone. How many of you are drone owners?
Yes.
New.
Yep.
Oh, what? Sorry. What was that?
I haven't.
How are you finding it?
I love it. Absolutely love it.
It gives you a totally new perspective to landscapes, doesn't it?
Well and truly. Even just the straight down shot from above.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it. Really do.
I mean, I love doing shots like this. I still get a buzz out of hanging out of a helicopter with the door off and shooting straight down. But and I've lost filters that way. When you think at the time I was shooting with Lee filters, and the holder has never come off on land, but I'm up in a helicopter over the barrier reef, and I think I overthought it and just hit the release. And I just watched this polarizer and holder fly out the door.
No.
They're not cheap.
no.
They're very expensive, Lee, if I remember right.
They are
Oh
indeed.
yeah.
Lee were at the top of their game for a while, won't they? But like case filters and everything's kind of like getting there now. But
I
yeah,
was just going to say, yeah.
Yeah.
I think they sat on their laurels. I was an ambassador for Lee for years, and if anybody wants to buy any gear, get in touch. I've got a lot of new and used gear. But Case actually contacted me a few years ago, and they said, would you like to be an affiliate? And I said, yeah, send me a kit, and I'll do an honest review of it, and I'll see what I think. And got to say, it's really very good. The quality, the magnetic system is brilliant.
Yes, I must admit that's the one I use.
Yeah, the Wolverine armor.
Wolverine, that's it. Yeah,
that's it. Yeah, I love it.
It's great. It's color coded, isn't it?
No, that's that's the new version. Mine's the old one.
I've got the old one. Yeah, I have Freewell as well. I don't know if these guys use Freewell. It's a bit more cost effective in regards to case filters. It's a magnetic system as well, and they're above KNF and all that. So they're kind of I would say it's just as good as Case actually. Everyone might be a sort of kind of controversial comment for me, but I think they are. If you look at their polarizer, it's slightly better in my book. I've got like a Freewell collection as well as opposed to Case. But yeah, they're like the same thing. You get like the first part you get the ring with the filter with it. So I've got like about 10 rings because I've got 10 filters. So I bought them all separate because they didn't actually have a pack like Case do. So the Case they done a kind of whole offer with about 5 filters and a case, etc. No pun intended. But yeah, regards to Freewell, there's single. I think they're now you can buy them in sort of cases now. But back then when I bought them, they're all individual ones. It was like about £100 a pop of each filter almost.
Whoa!
So, yeah, not cheap, but they are good. They're good. Yeah.
But going back to the shots, this is the colours, the depth of the colours. And do you know what, Tom? I hadn't actually. I've looked at this so much, and I hadn't actually noticed that kayak.
Oh, really?
And now I'm even more jealous at the Solitude because mine's proper shallow in comparison with this.
You got your 3 items, haven't you? You got the Solitude Island, the palm tree, and that canoe.
Yeah.
And
of course,
it makes you think how far out to sea that island is as well.
Exactly, and I would love to have been on that island, be in that kayak because I kayak myself, and coming back after a shoot and seeing this as the last frame from the shoot because I didn't expect to get anything.
Yeah.
This is probably the best shot from the whole trip.
Okay.
And it was just one of those spur of the moment, quick grab shots.
Just a lucky shot from the plane, and that was it.
Exactly, yeah.
But humour me, on that island, you need some big up sunscreen. There's no barbecue with prawns on it.
Yeah.
You'd be on there for about 10 minutes and think, right, done now, off I go. And then you'd think, is some bloke flying over me with a lovely camera window? Have I got my new Insta shot? It's stunning. But I think it's one of those things as well that you'd rather be looking at as opposed to being on for more than half an hour.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of Tom Hanks here. I don't know why, on that island. Not exactly the same for the castaway for the movie, but just by himself with the palm tree. That's his only food source.
What I thought of was those old cartoons you used to see where it was just like the desert island and the guy that's been shipwrecked. There's one
palm tree,
Beautiful shot.
Cracking shot, yeah. So we'll get to the next one. And thank you, Tom, for sharing your images.
Sure.
Really appreciate that. Thank you. So this one, I'm guessing this is Darren's shot, is it?
Yes. Yeah.
I like this one, yeah.
Looks vaguely familiar, Darren.
Because it was, I only put it out last week. That's why. But yeah, nice. This is up on Twizzleton Scar, just with the Moody clouds and then them light rays behind. Just made everything just pop. It would, very surreal up there. It was.
Yeah, I've seen a video on that as well. Really enjoyed that.
But it was just the sky. The sky was that dark, and you saw this little patch of light behind the tree.
Mm-hmm. And there was like a broken tree in there, isn't it? There was like broken branches, and you're trying to
there's further back there's a couple of other trees, and I was trying to overlap them and stuff like this, but when the sky broke, I just sort of tried to leg it over that limestone the best you can to get to this one.
It's a bit precarious. You have to watch that again as well, going across that.
Yeah, because any further right to where I went, I'd have been 3 foot underground. Because they are quite deep crevices of these.
Imagine how many lens caps and things that were lying there between these stones.
My bag was about 25 foot behind me.
Yeah, that's a lovely shot.
Yeah.
And was that like when you were there? Was it starting to rain or anything, or?
No, it just got really dark, and then the light rays just popped behind the tree.
Yeah, some cracking lovely.
But we didn't get any rain that day, surprisingly.
Yeah, well, that's seemed better, much better. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a cracking shot. Let's get that, and we'll move to the next one. And this one, yeah, the scale. This is a
nice,
a Mads kind of shot in it.
This is short, if I remember rightly, just short of 200 millimeters. I was walking back from where that hiker is, and because the rain started coming, and all I did was put my gear down, started to put my waterproofs on, and this guy just appeared. And the camera there, it was a quick couple of bursts of shots before the rain hit. But the layers were just fantastic.
So you didn't set that up? You didn't set the guy up?
Nope, that wasn't set up.
So look, he's actually staring at the camera almost.
Oh,
it's like looking across at curiosity.
Yeah.
You're not going back to you, no?
That's at Bamford Edge in the Peak District.
I was going to say, it looks like Bamford Edge, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I like what you said about the
layers. About 175, 180 mil, is that?
Yeah. I love it. As you say, the layers as well, and you just came in looking and looking back.
Yeah. This was when I had the, it must be 2019 because I had the Fuji XT2 then.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, so, great composition.
But yeah, it's just...
I love the way these lines, you've got this dark line down on the left-hand side coming in with all the layers. And the guy is just perfectly positioned.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, he just appeared from nowhere. And soon I put my head up, with that was it.
And he's facing towards you as well.
He is, yes. He must
have
known.
Sorry, chaps, I've got it on my screen. I like to look at things very largely. I'm zooming on the screen. Just he's just, the silhouette is just it's almost model-esque, isn't it? Beautiful, but the layers are gorgeous.
Yeah, and that's just with the rain coming in. Like I said, the weather. Any other time that wouldn't have worked, but with the weather and the layers, it was just screaming out black and white.
Yes. I do like that you've got just all the detail on that one wee bit down the bottom corner, that rock, and everything else is a bit darker, a bit less defined, and it looks really good, draws your eye right in.
Thank you.
I'm just staring right through the back and look at the trees, through the hills. I love that kind of image of the layers.
There's a Tuscan element to that as well. Almost sort of off to the right in the background there was the tall trees in the background, the Tuscan element. Beautiful.
Yeah, them at the right hand side,
yeah.
It's I didn't recognise that was the Peak District, to be honest with you. I thought it was Scotland or somewhere. No, I've been on that edge many a time.
Yeah,
super shot. Like say the layers, you go up to that person that's just isolated there on that rock, and then your eye just travels through the image. Super shot, really is nice.
I think good thing about conifer trees as well. Conifer trees are more characteristic in landscapes because they point up.
Yeah.
Like a normal tree's kind of flat and just come up, but if you look at the conifers there in the background, they're pointing upwards. They're all pointing, especially on the right hand side. There's something about the conifer tree. It just looks quite sharp, brings it out.
Yeah. Shot. But yeah, no, I think I rattled 3 or 4 shots off, and that was the only one with his legs apart. That's why I chose that one.
Yeah, it's cracking.
Weird, isn't it, what you choose? It's a weird, the selection process.
It is.
Right.
This is a lovely shot as well, and of course it does say solitude, and it's going to say the ruins of it's like a bothy, an old bothy over, or.
Well, you're wrong. It's actually a church, and it's about 1,200 years old.
Really?
Church. Oh. Yeah, in West Lothian, down near Winchborough.
Is that Winchborough?
Yeah. Well, that's Winchborough, yeah. Believe it or not.
I've been through there a few times, driving through that way, especially lately. Yeah. And I like how you got the wheat in the skyline foreground.
Yeah. I'd actually taken this shot or a similar shot is in my West Lothian book.
Okay.
And I went back because obviously the book they've got to be a horizontal, landscape format.
Yeah.
I actually think it works better as a portrait It's
Yeah.
yeah. But
Yeah,
it's one where you've got to walk along the canal and then pick your way up to the fields from there, you know.
Mm.
I like the warmth of
But I don't know if you would actually get. I've not been back for a while now. They've started expanding Winchborough, and I think there might be buildings in the background now,
oh no.
Right.
which would
Hate when that
ruin it,
happens. Yeah,
unfortunately.
so a lot of rural areas now becoming more urban. You know, that especially comes to the central belt in Scotland. As you guys, when you're traveling in Scotland, you really have to go to the Highlands or the borders to appreciate the country. The central belt is the two cities, Glasgow and Edinburgh, are moving inwards, moving into the central belt more. I mean, it's if you call like Livingston is getting bigger and bigger. Livingston used to be a little town, now it's getting like more. It's okay, you can't really say it's a city now. Of course, without the cathedral. But yeah, it's a lovely shot, Doug. What I like about it is the warmth of it, and then your eyes leading into the ruins of the church and the clouds as well. You've got three different elements there of the picture. You know, the clouds, the ruin, and the wheat. It's nice. Yeah, it's a good shot.
The next one, the tree on the next one is just, I want to go there.
That is
Stunning, man.
Harry Potter.
Nice tree.
That tree.
It's called the Frandy tree. It's actually quite a well-known tree around here. It's up in Glendevon.
Oh yeah.
Near the Frandy fisheries, which is why it's called the Frandy tree. And yeah, you've got to there's a road along the back of it. So you've got to get down really, really low to get to. Now, what actually, I'm really fond of this shot, really proud of it. But I entered it for the Landscape Photographer of the Year competition. Yeah, all the results came back, didn't get anything. Okay, fair enough. Yeah. Opened the next book that came out from that year. Someone else had taken exactly the same shot.
Same comp.
There you
it
go.
It was in black and white. Mine was in colour. Theirs got through. Mine didn't. So
it's interesting.
Yeah. It annoyed me.
See that. Yeah.
It's got a lovely shape to it.
Yeah.
Sorry?
It's got a lovely shape to the tree.
Oh, it has. Yes. Oh, yeah.
And I like the way you've captured that so that it's not intersecting with the horizon line.
Yeah, that is, like I say, you've got to get really down low to get that, and you've just got to get right at the right angle as well. So I don't know if you can see just over towards the left-hand side, the ground actually disappears down.
Yes.
You're standing on a fairly precarious corner just to get that. But yeah, it works. I'm happy.
The shape of the tree is interesting. The shot, the tree itself, the damaged part at the bottom there, it's wide open. Everything it's beautiful.
I think
also, of course.
I think it's caught with lightning or something at some point. So
yeah.
So I've heard.
Sorry, Louise, go on. You were going to say there something.
Strangely, that's the bit we were saying about what you feel attracted towards. It's almost like the offer of protection that it would give you if you're hunkering in from a storm. There's a story within that tree, says she, dramatically girlish. So this is the difference between girls and boys, right? Girls, I mean, like all that, and guys are like, yes, I think this is fantastic. It's just, I love this because of that element of openness to step into that. Lovely.
Yeah, it's a lovely shot. It's the framing of it's beautiful as well. And just as Doug said, he's got down low there to get separation from the tree from the hills. Works well. Beautiful. So we're going to the next one, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, pleasure. And liking this. Is this?
This is Steve's.
This is Steve's.
It's definitely Steve's.
Yeah.
Steve,
Yeah, it's,
have you seen this tree before in a different background?
No, you haven't. No,
this is a different tree. Yeah.
Crikey.
Steve, can I just say one thing about that tree? Is the light is kissing the side there of it, on the right hand side. I love the light hitting against that. It brings the tree
Everybody
out.
thinks it's my lone tree of the common, but it's not.
Well,
it's actually
it was.
Yeah. It's actually local to me. Well, it's about a 15-20 minute drive, and I got pointed it out by another photographer actually. So just one day I shot over there one early morning, and I will definitely be going back. And I think the important thing with this image will be the crop, what the crop's going to be like in the field. A bit like your image at the beginning, Tom. It's only going to work in the right conditions, the right crop, the right time of the year. What I've learned about it is that sunrise is at 90 degrees to that right hand side. So I'll use that information and I will revisit this now over the next couple of 3 years and just keep my eye on the crop really. The only thing that frustrates me about this is the tractor lines in the crop don't lead straight up to the tree.
Yeah.
The only thing that sort of, and I think if I went back just a week or so later, or a couple of weeks later, when that crop had grown a touch more, so everything was a little bit cleaner in the field. But again, it's going to be a work in process. This one is, but
the precision of those yellow lines is something as well. That's quite.
It's.
Quite
I did actually, just to sort of put it in my own mind, I actually photoshopped it and moved the tree over, to be honest, and just to see what it looked like. Sort of in between Gary Goff and Mad's shot, that was.
What would be good with this one as well, Steve, if you actually caught the tractor getting the crops in, leading up to the tree,
or perhaps incorporating a person in it, with a person walking up the tree right in the middle of the tractor lines.
Yes.
But it's actually, I actually took another shot without the tree in it, which is actually my favourite shot, just to the right hand side, because the light was hitting this field as it undulates across, and I think it's a fantastic shot. But because I'm shooting then at an angle, the field's not so messy. Where because I'm square on here, you can actually see all the way up each line of the crop. So it's a little bit messy. But the actual shot I preferred on the morning, going to shoot this tree, was the one without the tree in. Okay. And there's just nothing but the field and sky, a nice blue sky, and a nice, as the lights sit in the rolling field, really.
Blue sky works with trees and low trees, isn't it? I mean, I think what I'm looking at is, I'm looking at the tree and I'm looking at the light going against the tree, the top of the tree, around the sides of it, to the right hand side, to the trunk, etc. It's just giving that, mixing it pop. Regards to the foregrounds, I love the slant of it. It's different. You got that kind of like downhill kind of look. It's not like, it's like kind of not the perfect. You don't want it too perfect. You want a bit of character there, and what the foreground's giving you is character. The little waves there as well off the hill, on the hill, if you know what I mean. You've got the dip and then it goes up again. It's quite interesting.
What we've actually got on that left hand side is actually the M42.
Really?
Probably spoilt the image now, isn't it? But so that solitude is probably just gone. But yeah, it's a very photogenic. It's what's in front of it's what's surrounding the tree, supporting it, that makes the tree so good.
Yeah.
And like I say, it's the same as my lone tree, the common. If the crop isn't any good, you can't. The tree isn't going to work. So all them elements have got to support the main subject without a doubt.
Yeah. It's a fine image, and thanks for sharing that one.
You want to go and have a word with the farmer, by the way, so that next year he just drives his tractor. I
will have a word with him, because he needs to get it right.
Give him £20 or something.
Yeah, or if he moved it so the two lines were, the tree was in the middle of the two lines, mate. In the two different.
Have you
things
ever
we do as photographers, anyway. Things we do, things we say as photographers.
It's never quite right, is it?
Have you ever had any funny interactions with farmers when you've been out shooting locations like this?
Yeah,
I've not had interaction with farmers, but I have been up Wales where the iconic shot where you shoot Trefan with the waterfalls coming down, and we actually wild camped up there, and the farmer come down on his quad bike and he says you can't camp there, and so all right, no problem, sorry about that. And he said, look, we're just doing a bit of photography, and the reason why he didn't want us to camp there is because he'd got so fed up over COVID, picking all the rubbish up and all the mess. But what he didn't realise is that we'd actually gone round and picked other people's rubbish up as we were there. So, and as soon as he appreciated that we was actually looking after his land, he let us stop, and he had no problem whatsoever.
Yeah.
And again, it's going back to respecting where you are.
Yes,
and if he wanted us off, that wouldn't have, if he didn't want us to wild camp there or to stop there or to do some photography, that'd have been fine with me. I've got not got a problem with that. But if when we got talking and we got, he realizes we was a decent bunch. There were two or three of us, and we just actually I put the tent up just to get a shot of it with the light in it, with Travan in the back. It was a subject. It wasn't something. We actually spent about half an hour sleeping in it, ready for the Milky Way to come over and all this, that, and the other. And then we actually walked back down about 5 o'clock in the morning. But it's what I'm trying to get at is respecting where you are. Yes. And that's whether you're in a farmer's field or in the mountains. It's all the same. Or even, you know, it's all about.
Tom said at the beginning of the podcast, he mentions regards to, you know, respecting the areas, don't letting people on social media know where you are, etc. That ties in exactly what you're saying there, respecting where you are and you're shooting as well.
But I do my social media because I want people to go and take a photo of this tree, and to, you know, and that's why I do that's why I do YouTube, is because I want people to see these locations and go and try it, and really putting your trust in them then to be respectful when they do go. And like I say, most photographers are respectful people because they want to look after that land that they're taking images of. So it just goes hand in hand.
There's an education there, isn't it?
But there is a fine line sometimes. There's definitely a fine line, you know, with let's say honeypot locations and things like that, where it just gets trampled and.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I had an inquisitive farmer one time here in Norfolk. I was photographing one of my favorite trees on the top of this horizon line, and he had just baled up the straw. And I thought, oh my God, this is great. The lighting looks great and everything. And I'm out in the middle of this field photographing these bales of straw with a tree in the background. And this Land Rover comes across the field and he stops, and I'm set up with a tripod camera. And he says, "What are you doing?" And I really wanted to say, well, let's see, a tripod camera, any hints there? But I thought, no.
Yeah.
Instead, I said, "I'm a land survey. We're putting a road through here." And the look on his face, I did kind of weigh him up. I thought, this guy looks like he's got a sense of humor, and he did. But his jaw dropped, and I said, "I'm just kidding." And then we started talking, and he says, "Oh, look, I've got a mate that's a photographer as well. Come on up. I want to show you some of his work and everything." And I said, "You know, give me your address. If this ever gets published on a calendar or whatever, I'll send you a copy." So I always try to do that, send either a print or the calendar to the landowner, just to show appreciation for trespassing, basically.
That's a good,
I think that's just again, I've done that the other week. I've done a shoot on a golf course. So on a golf course that I weren't sure that I should be on until I seen a dog walker go by. So the first thing I do when I get back home is email the golf course and do they want to. Look, I've took some photos, you know, do you want an image? I'll send one over to you. I haven't had a response, but it's just a little respect. You know, I didn't walk on the green and things like that, and it was all iced over. So I know if you walk on the icy grass, especially on the greens, it can burn them and things like that. So again, it's just a little bit of education as well, isn't it? How to look after your environment as well. That, you know, it's like standing on bluebells, isn't it? Things like that.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't know, you're just going to stand on them. So we need the discussions to so people know. You know, it's a bit like walking. You know, you wouldn't walk into that field just straight over the crop, would you? You know, whether you knew the farm or not.
I think in the early days, a lot of landscape photographers preached that. Simon Baxter's, Tom Heaton's, etc. Guys kind of preached that for a while. Sometimes it's nice for another kind of like blog artist to say that again, because it's all about education, not just about photography. It's also about basically telling people to be careful out there. And as you say, of course, both these guys kind of agree on the fact that we have to be careful when we go to these locations and we look after them and we clean as we go. But put it in the videos is always good.
The negatives I've had with it, Paul, is my lone tree that I've been taking. Obviously, these farmers see these images and they've actually contacted me saying, "We're doing an harvest next week. Do you want to come and photograph it?" And I've done that.
Nice.
So you get the tip off. So there's always positives as well, you know.
Yeah, networking.
It's just it's a good thing. So so I went down there, done the photographs, and sent them. I've done it in poppy fields where we got a poppy field and we're trying to find the guy who owns the field. We've managed to find him. We've emailed him. Yep, you got no problem. And and then say, "Do you want an image?" And I sent him an image over, a printed
well
image,
done,
and
Very courteous. And
if you work with them, normally it's not a problem.
yeah.
It's not a thing we have a problem with in Scotland because we've got the right of way here anyway,
Yeah.
the right of access. As long as you don't, as you say, break things or leave a mess.
But even then, it's still.
I think what Dougie means is as long as it's not raining.
Yeah.
Well,
It's just a polite
too.
thing, isn't it? Whether you have access or not. The lone tree that I take is on as a right of way there, but again, it's big. Even if they're doing some work in the field, it's always nice to say, "You don't mind me taking a photo of this, with your tractor in it and this, that, and the other." And if you want an image, we'll send it to you. So it's just a bit being polite, really, isn't it?
I just say,
yeah.
We'll get to the next one.
What I found, I've never had any problem with farmers, but I was setting up one day at the side of a loch, it was Linlithgow Loch, setting up, and this guy came up to me and started going absolutely mental. "You can't do that here." He thought I was poaching.
Oh,
right.
Right.
I had to show him the camera.
So, how big were your tripod?
No fish.
So we'll get to the next one, guys. And this is a lovely shot.
That's nice.
Talking to fishing.
Yeah. So yeah, just
he's poaching.
Go on.
Yeah.
This is from Penmon Point, Penmon Lighthouse on Anglesey.
Oh,
Lovely hills in the background.
Yeah. Well, that's Snowdonia in the background there. So
it's beautiful.
And
is this the hills, etc.?
The reason why it's personal for me is actually the dog, because that's where I used to take my dog, and it's a border collie. But I've just seen him going on the end fishing and with his dog, and I've just turned around, and it was quite difficult to get the shot because I was losing the light, so it was hard to get a fast enough shutter speed for him and the dog to be sharp and still. And I must have took 100 images, to be honest with you. The rain, there's a rain shower coming through, so sort of everything's against you to actually get the shot. But I managed to get a couple that I was quite happy with. But yeah, it's more for me. It's more of a memory thing, this one.
Yeah, because I know your dog Cooper was black and white. Was that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I see what you mean. It kind of pulls the heartstrings. I do get you when you say that. Yeah, it's a lovely shot, nevertheless. Even just the foreground.
It's telling that story again, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice.
And it's something different from that area as well, which is quite nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the foreground because it kind of, I don't know why I say this, but even though it's stones, as you can see it's stones, it almost looks like bones.
It does. It's exactly what I was thinking. Exactly that. Yeah.
Were you?
Yeah.
I'm not a crackpot then.
Well,
it's debatable. It's debatable.
Yeah.
But it's just that friendship for me. It's that relation with friendship.
As Dan says, it's a story. It's
his dog,
his companion, the dog companion with the man fishing.
It's sort of the both fishing, aren't they? It's not the dog just being there. They're both waiting for that catch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
good point. And it looks so quite calm. It's peaceful looking. I don't know if you guys are getting that.
It was, but with the shower coming through, it's probably the calmest I've ever seen it there. To be honest with you, normally it's quite rough and you get the winds blowing through, but it was actually. When I turned up there, it was that calm. I'd done a Gary Goff, and you almost didn't need
all the tones.
You didn't need the long exposure because the water was so calm, and so I've got another image of the lighthouse and with no horizon, etc. Just simplified the image. This was just a bonus right at the end of the day. That was.
Yeah, it's a cracking shot. So we'll get to the next one, guys. We'll have to go for you. Louise has to go soon, so
I always have to go, don't I? Sorry.
Demanding
people that way.
So, nice. Crop.
I like this.
Right. Yes. Right.
This is Louise.
I found this this real challenge. What you set us. So this was 2 weeks ago yesterday, and I had stropped in a proper girly fashion with my mate Ben, and so I don't want to go. I don't want to walk all the way down to the lighthouse. So this is this is Beachy Head Lighthouse, and I don't know whether you know about Beachy Head, but it's a place where people will choose to end their lives. And whenever you go there, and I've shot it away from the tops of the cliffs a number of times, you have to put a little note in your car saying 2 photographers, and we're all okay, thank you, and this is where you'll find us, because the chaplains come around and check you out. So I put that in my car, and I had to go over the downs, and eventually down to kind of this spot. This was sunrise. I got some lovely colours, but the tide was retreating, and it would take us another 45 minutes, 50 minutes to get to the lighthouse. But it was the calmest morning I'd ever had in this area. Now I've only lived in this area for 5 or 6 years. However, I had fought not to go to this place. And by God, it was one of the most beautiful mornings I've ever had.
Yeah.
And for me, it was that slight reflection.
Yep, I can see that
there. And the wave coming in. And again, it's one of those, I probably took about 20 images and I lost the reflection on virtually all of them. So for me, that tiny bit of reflection worked really well. But the colour had passed, so hence I popped it in black and white.
I just like the receding tide. You've got that beautiful, pristine sand, but yet the receding tide, the little S shape coming all the way around.
And the contrast with the sand and the sea. It's really nice. I mean, I'm just looking at there and looking closely at that lighthouse, and you can see it almost looks like I don't know if it's like, you see it there, it's almost like a supporting cable as such.
There are. So there's 2 cables, which apparently, when it was manned, they used to take stuff down to it, sort of food and.
Right, okay.
When you get up close to it, there are just a couple of lumps, I suppose, fairly close to where the cliff starts going up, and some sculptors have gone down and made some sculptures out of kind of driftwood that's down there. It's slightly haunting because you think, well, that's, you know what I mean.
Make a good flying fox out of that. That's a beautiful shot.
True. Yeah,
Absolutely
and that's the one time actually, Tom, that my friend Ben put his drone up. I was going to take mine, but I'm really novicing at that. And he just flew quite low over the waters, and then eventually went back out towards the cliffs.
Right.
So he's going backwards, and it's just, you just get such unique kind of images or just kind of perspectives when you're in that place. So this was my interpretation of what you had there, because I don't have many lone trees down here, because I'm literally 3 miles and I hit the water on the south coast.
Oh, nice.
At Worthing, but there's nothing much there at all. But we do have to the east of us the South Downs, which is this is the far east point of the South Downs.
But don't you just love photographing the coastline like this? Because so imagine you would have waited for this wave to come in and create that, nice line leading up to the lighthouse. Each wave brings a totally different composition.
It really does. And anything higher in that background just wiped out that fraction of that reflection. So, yes, it was
very nice.
Beautiful day, and there was nobody else at all there because it was stupid o'clock in the morning. Great.
No footprints in the sand anyway.
Not at all.
Well, it's funny, Louise, what you said about the chaplain, because years ago I did a photographer's shoot, reader's shoot for Amateur Photographer magazine, and we'd parked up on the top there, and we were walking along the cliff tops, and the guy came over and said, "Are you okay?" And I mean, we had a group of, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 people.
Wow.
And I said, we're not going to do a mass suicide if that's what you think.
Cult thing going on here.
We're photographers.
Was that in this area, Tom?
It was at the top.
They
where
are hot on it. Hot.
Yeah.
It's
where the pub is.
Yeah. Then that's where I would normally shoot from. So if you just where you're looking at the top of that cliff on the right hand side, that's probably the closest area to that pub. But it's even when I've been there and I've done some night photography very badly, we've been collared, but all the photographers tend to talk to each other and go
Right.
check in with each other, because if a chaplain does come up to you, you just kind of go, but there's a guy down there, he's at the War Memorial, and you just point out who the others are. But genuinely, Tom, I don't know if you can see on the right, on the top of that cliff, there is a dark line going down.
Yeah.
That is waiting to fall.
Oh, really?
And about 3 hours later, as we were walking back, somebody was sat there with their legs dangling down, and that happens.
Oh, no.
Oh my God.
It's ridiculous. People just, that's one of the top selfie places there, because you can get that in the background.
Yeah.
Bonkers.
You know the lighthouse on the top of the cliff,
Yeah,
Spell
Bell 2.
2?
Yes,
Bell
they've got to
2.
move it back again.
Can you still stay in that?
Yes, I believe you can, but
I stayed in it years ago, and I got a great shot from the lantern, looking down on Beachy Head with the cliffs and the people walking along the cliffs.
Yeah.
And I thought, yeah, nice, unique perspective.
But they've got to move it back again, because it's incredibly close to the edge of the cliffs, and every sort of 15 years they have to kind of move it back and back. So
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
How much must that cost, man?
I know.
Whoa.
Ever the Southerner capitalist.
That's really. We'll have a look at the next shot now. But I can stay up for a while. That's a really nice shot.
Oh,
yeah.
that's
Slovenia.
nice.
Slovenia.
Yeah. So you remember that one that's up there that I showed you?
That picture. Yeah.
Yeah, that picture. So this is
St. Thomas?
Yes, Thomas's shirts. Sveti Thomas.
Yeah.
So I stayed. There are, as you're looking at Sveti Thomas, there are a couple of houses to the right hand side. So it's like a farmhouse, and I stayed there for 3 nights in October, and went for a sublime morning. And there was one bit where you just think, I quite like the fact that there's not a lot to see there. So this is my interpretation of your theme.
Oh, that's great. I really like the minimalistic aspect of this.
Thank you. I had to take some of the blacks out, or the greys out of the, so that's all I had to do with that. Every now and then you get one of those shots where you don't have to edit much.
No.
And that was basically, square crop, take the greys out, done.
Beautiful.
I had a group out there last October, and we turned up, and it's become a very popular place, as you probably know. Just lined up with workshop fans. And I said to the group, I said, just find a spot. You're probably getting pretty much what everybody else is getting here, but I want you to try a little exercise. And this is what we were talking about before, about utilizing compositions by using one lens. I said, okay, use one lens, and at this location, a 70-200 was perfect. I said, just stand where you are. This is your spot. I want to see how many different compositions you can create from this location. And afterwards, we went back through all the different, and it was amazing what people were coming up with.
Yeah.
It makes you look into the landscape and pick out little details. And you can get the wide shot, you can get the tight shots like this. But this was really nice because you don't have anything else competing with it around the church.
Yeah.
So, Tom, can I ask a stalker question?
Sure.
What colour's your jacket, and what colour was your van? Because I think you may have been there on the day I was there.
Oh, okay. Actually, did you run into Guy Edwards as well?
Yes.
Okay, we were there the same day.
Might have been the same day. Yeah, okay.
Because
morning, wasn't it? Cracking morning.
The funny thing was, on the flight over, one of my clients was sitting just across the aisle from me, next row back, and Guy comes in and sits down right next to him. And I was telling my client about Guy's photography. I said, this guy is just amazing. His wildlife photography and landscapes are just brilliant. And he sits down, and I sent him a message. I said, you're sitting right next to Guy. And I looked back and I said hi to him. And I said, I'll no doubt run into you in some of the locations. But we went out that morning, and because the conditions were just perfect for that morning. Yeah. And we had to actually cram a lot of things in 2-3 days where the weather is going to be perfect for certain locations. but that was just an amazing morning.
Yes.
We stood there and just watched the mist go in through the trees, and it changed all the time.
Did you also watch the tourists going into the field and doing those photos?
Oh God, yes. Yeah, and it seems like they were all doing time lapse as well.
Yes.
Because their regular camera setup plus a time lapse camera set up alongside of it.
I confess I did get slightly moralistic in my "don't step in people's fields, please" in my video about it. It was just so it's great morning. Sorry, chaps, done now.
Yep.
No, I'll take you there. I'll take you all there.
Well, we're used to you stalking people now.
I'll stalk anyone that turns up on this.
Yeah, Louise is a bit of a stalker. Only on the channel, of course. That's all. That's a lovely shot, Louise. I do like with the minimalist stuff and it's 1x1 crop works absolutely beautiful.
I like the position of it
nice.
where it was on the top left-hand corner as well. I think it's positioned just right. Yeah.
Sorry, I should have kept that image up there.
It doesn't matter a jot.
Yeah, so this one's called Alone, and it was mainly just local woodlands about 5 miles from my house. It was one of these days. It was pretty much the canopy was open in the woodland, a nice bit of light coming down, and I just kissed the side of that. I mean, I did vignette. You can see the vignette in there at the top. It's quite heavy actually at the top there. But I did vignette it a bit. It was kind of dark. It was a dark kind of overcast sky we had, and there was kind of rays coming down. And this flower, this wildflower, which I'm trying to think the name of it again. And these guys got the name for that flower? It's a wildflower. But anyway, the light kind of kissed it on it, and I kind of emphasised that a bit more with vignetting it a little bit. What I liked about it is just kind of give you that sense of alone and ostracised and kind of maybe a bit psychological there, but ostracised from society kind of thing. It's just sitting there by itself. But yeah,
I just like the colour tone of it. It's got that yellow against the green, and that's the singular bit of yellow.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so that's that one. And yeah, just to say, Tom, I normally take pictures of woodlands, as you know, and when you say solitude, I was like, solitary, sorry. When you said that was a subject, I went, oh, right, okay, I think I've got a couple of shots, but I can't remember. This was taken 7 years ago, this image.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 7 years ago. And I think my post-processing slightly stepped up a little bit from there. I'd like to say probably a bit better, not too much. But yeah, I mean, I think the vignetting was a bit heavy on that one. But apart from that,
it's nice that it brings your attention down to the flower and
yeah.
Just the lighting on it, the nice soft lighting. It wouldn't have worked any other way.
No, it's kind of a simple shot. It is what it is. But yeah, it's that kind of thing. Is less is more in it. It's that kind of image. 1x1 crop, always nice for a simple shot, as we all know. And it wouldn't work in any other way. I think I couldn't put that in a 4x5 or anything. It wouldn't work. So that's the first one. The second one, this is more kind of, I love the buka behind the stem. And this was actually a blade. It wasn't grass. It was actually a stem of a flower. And if I remember right, it was not, what was it again? Some kind of dragon flower, whatever it was called. And if you look up, you can go into Collins Dictionary Book of Flowers or Plants, rather, you can see it in there. It's a plant, sorry. And what I liked about it is a stem with the sensitive hair.
The backlighting, yeah.
Yeah, and it's this kind of stem of life, I called it. So it's just it's kind of simple shot. Just focusing onto the actual stem as opposed to the actual flower itself, because I just liked how it was. Something that you don't see much of, just kind of something different. So I like that. And it's that kind of solitude thing where it just feels like it's there, there's nothing around it. It is what it is. And yeah, it's a bit blurred at the bottom there, but that I was fine with that because the buka that was coming out from the back was amazing. It just kind of made the shot a bit more prominent. So quite liked that shot. So that's my 2 shots. So
nice.
I think we can focus too much on everything. We can focus on everything being in focus all the time when it's an art form. It doesn't have to be in focus. It's what you want from the image. That's the main thing. It's what
It's the question of what you want to draw people's eye to, really, isn't it?
Yeah,
If
that's
it
it.
doesn't matter for the picture, out of focus is absolutely fine.
And just dragging it to the left of the frame a little bit. If I had it bang on the middle, it wouldn't work. I thought it wouldn't work with bang in the middle.
No,
Just a little bit.
it works well because of that where you've placed it in that background as well. It's the background it's probably more important for this foreground to work, isn't it? So you place yourself with that in mind.
I was using a 105 Nikon mil lens, macro lens, 2.8 aperture. Kind of paid off. Yeah. So
nice.
next one. This will be Alistair's shots. Alistair, I know you couldn't make it tonight, but we'll certainly show your shots tonight. So, and I can see Duke there, your dog. So Alistair, of course, Tom, is the other panelist of the team. He couldn't make it tonight, so unfortunately he's ill, sadly. But he's given us these images so we can have a little look at them. But yeah, I mean, what I'm liking about this is the footprints of the dog. If you look down, you can see the footprints.
I've just noticed them, and there's hardly any other footprints there apart from just Duke.
Yeah, so Duke's in the middle. Beautiful dog.
What I like about it is actually the dog is taking the owner for a walk. Like my dog used to. He's showing him the way, isn't he?
Yeah. Just looking across the horizon as well, he's got that perfectly straight. It's lovely. And this is the clouds, the character of the clouds, the dark clouds. I don't know if that's a 16 by 9. I think does that look like a 16 by 9 to you guys?
Yeah.
Thereabouts, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the dead wood there on the left hand side there, kind of like that as well. This on the left hand side, you see the dead wood under the sand.
Yep.
A little bit kind of rusticy look. I think the images just kind of perfectly composition with the Duke in the middle there, walking out. Footprints as well just makes it just leading your eye to the dog. And I know sadly Duke's quite old, and Alistair loves his dog. He's one of these guys. He takes the dog out with him. He goes out vlogging, as a lot of photographers do. But Duke's about, how old is he? I think he's a 12-year-old. I think something like that.
I think he's older. Is it? Did he say we're 14, something like that?
Yeah, and he's
that's the figure goes through my head. It's about 14. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and he
but
walks
do you get the feeling? You get a feeling looking at the image that the dog's old, don't you?
Yeah.
It's almost a story. If he's going to that, he's been to that beach so many times, and he's just going to, just to have his little steady walk round. He's not going to be jumping up and playing. He's going for a stroll across the beach. That's what I like about it.
Yeah. Alistair takes him all in his videos. He's always with him all the time. He loves his dog. But he is such a character. If you watch his videos, you enjoy he's a little companion with the Duke. That's the name of him.
What's Alistair's last name?
Alistair MacDonald. It's Accessible Photography. He suffers from ME, and he's put a different spin on his videos. He's trying to get people who can't get access to, can't get out much and doing photography, to get them to these locations. You can get some great locations without climbing up hills and going up against different terrains and things. So yeah, lovely shot. Well done, Alistair. So Nick, he likes his fiery skies, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So I think the one we had before was like that. So looking at that, of course, he's got the you see on the left hand side there, it's got the wind tumbling. I'm presuming that's in Fife in Scotland where he's from. And yeah, it's a beautiful shot.
Beautiful sky.
Yeah. And again, it's obviously he's placed the wind turbine to the left hand side.
Yeah, and right at the very bottom too, the focus is on the sky.
Yeah, you're kind of just drawn to it completely, and your eye kind of travels down the bottom there on the left hand side there.
I think this has been taken with a long lens.
I would say so, yeah.
That's what I like,
yeah. It's at least
I don't actually think it would work so well neither if that wind turbine was on the rule of thirds, let's say. It works so much better when it's right at the bottom.
Yeah, especially with that sky.
Yeah, it emphasizes the kind of loneliness of it, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah,
up there at the very bottom.
And then, of course, obviously, he's meant for what we're looking for with regards to the theme of the images, and he's seen that as that, and it certainly does come across that way. Yeah, that's a lovely shot. Well done, Alistair. And Alistair, of course, if you're watching, thanks for posting your images as well. So that is that, actually. So we will get back to the screen. And can you guys see each other?
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
We're on full screen then.
Yeah. So yeah, we've kind of all moved about as well. That's quite cool. So we've had a good kind of chat tonight. We've looked at some great images. And Tom, thanks again for getting your images out there and also coming on to the
thanks for asking me.
And we'll always ask, would you like to come back on again?
Sure. This is
Great.
actually my first podcast.
Really?
So I had no idea what to expect.
Nothing from us. You don't expect anything from us at all.
I've done Camera Club talks by Zoom during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And that was strange because it's difficult to get any reaction because you can't hear the audience.
Yeah.
And so you might be telling a funny story and then you think, oh gosh, is anybody falling? Everybody's falling asleep.
Mom, it's when they go off camera. When they go off camera, it's horrendous.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You guys, right? More so, you guys, because you guys, I mean, because your workshops, like Tom, you integrate the online thing. We've gone Zoom, and of course you yourself, Louise, you do Zoom all the time.
Every day.
You can have like 25 people when you've got like different pages you can go through, as opposed to just seeing people right here. You've got different rooms, etc. I presume. So yeah, it must be quite daunting. I mean, you're talking away, you can't see the other people as you're talking to them. Yeah.
Be happy to come back again.
Tom,
great, thanks. What are you up to now? Is there anything you're up to? What's coming up in the future for Tom Mackie? What are you up to?
I'm preparing for a trip as usual. I'm going to New Zealand at the end of the month.
Oh, nice.
So it's probably be my only workshop there. I've been several times.
Really?
And I thought I'll do a workshop there, but it's a long way to go.
Yeah, it's a long as well.
I've had a lot of my regular clients that I thought would snap this up, but they said, nah, it's too far to go.
Oh.
So I thought, yeah, I'll just do this one, and then looking to do something different. I'm looking into Eastern Europe. My partner's from Bulgaria, and so we're going to be exploring more of Bulgaria and Romania, Macedonia, Albania. So I think there's some interesting landscape there to find. Yeah.
I mean, it's Estonia as well. It's got a lot of mass kind of woodlands, and if I remember right, looking at the Estonia, you see it's huge amounts of woodlands in that area as well.
Oh yeah.
Predominantly probably pine, mind you, as most of of course, the Scandinavian countries are. But yeah, I would love to go to. I mean, believe it or not, there's a place in Scotland, Dumfries, has got the largest woodland, apparently, not the one in UK, but so I think it's up there in the UK in regards to the amount of woodland it's got. And I've never been there, and it's on my own territory. It's only about maybe a 2 hours drive. I've never been there, and I want to check it out. But guys, if you ever get up to Scotland, looking for woodland photography, try Dumfries, and tell more about it if you get there.
That one is the Forest of A or something like that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's a massive place, isn't it? It's huge.
Aye.
Because Dumfries has got the last
things I've never gone in, but yeah.
Paul, if Tom comes back, can we play devil's advocate and get him to choose a selection of your photos that you'd like us, and can we interrogate you on them in a nice way, not stalking at all?
Interrogate me about.
You choose a selection of your shots, and we can just
have my shots.
Having a look at your shots, and just kind of asking you lots of questions so I can learn from you.
All right, so that sounds like a good exercise, right?
Coming from Louise, that's a huge compliment. I second that actually, because I love these two shots you brought up in the show tonight. So yeah, please do bring some more of your work.
Thank you very much. I mean, it's nice. I really enjoy when we were talking about the workshops. The nice thing about doing group workshops is that you make friends, and I've got an inner core of people that keep coming back, and they recommend other people to come on the workshops, and it grows that way. But the nice thing is you feel like you're going out shooting with friends then.
Yeah.
And it's a social thing. So we have a good laugh. I mean, if you look at my website, there's a little reel for the workshops on there. And one of my clients, Ed Bacon from Pennsylvania, he is such a crack up. We always have such a good time when he's on workshops. And, I mentioned the thing about wine because on that particular one, I try to make things a little bit special. And some of the locations, I'll bring open bottle of wines, glasses for everybody. And, after the sunset, just, chilling. And so he said, yeah, and great wine. He says, oh, don't mention that. We're in a national park. it's illegal. But no, we always try to have a lot of fun and just relax. And I think for somebody that's never done a workshop before, it can be intimidating. And so what I tried to do with the reel is to show people that it's really relaxed and you're out there to have a good time and learn and improve your photography. Yeah. And I think everybody learns from each other as well. So when you start talking to somebody else, you start making friends. And then I've had a lot of people that just team up and they'll do shoots together if they live close to each other or whatever. Mm-hmm. So it's a really nice way of improving your work.
Yeah, definitely. And it's that kind of buddy thing when you're going out with them. You feel like it's kind of buddy for the day as well. You're going out as a group and you gel together. And I quite like it. I mean, I've just started doing these kind of things at workshops. Today I took out my best friend because he asked if he had his birthday. Well, his birthday's 1st of April, which is April Fool's Day, and his wife contacted me and said, "Can you, I want to buy a couple of courses." He went, "You don't have to. It's my mate Taggy. He's fine. Don't worry about it. It's free, gratis. Don't worry about it." So anyway, he found out he was getting a camera, like a typical guy. We're all like kids. Oh, I want my camera now, kind of thing. So his wife ended up getting his birthday present early. So he contacted me, asked to go out for a photo jaunt, as we say in Scotland, jaunt. And he was like winding me up. And he was like, I was expecting to take great shots, and you're just gonna like show me all this, the exposure, the pubic triangle. It's not the pubic triangle, it's the exposure triangle. But I've done a couple of workshops, and like these guys, like Steve and Dan and Louise, these guys are pros. What they do it, they've done it for longer than me. I've just started doing it, so I'm just kind of scratching the surface of it. It'll take me a while to get to the guys where you guys are at. But I enjoy it. I mean, I've done. I'm only just
starting. So we're not pros.
No, but you guys are. You've got a good following on YouTube, etc. And your images are just second to none, especially tonight. What we've seen. Same as Doug. Doug should get back on YouTube as well. I mean, Doug's images tonight were amazing.
I'll think about it one of these days, maybe.
Get yourself back on it. That's to the both of you. Get back on YouTube again. That's where you belong. That's where you belong. But you're right. I do agree with it. It does take a lot of time up, and you got to love it. As someone says, I think it was Steve or someone said that, you got to love it to do it. And if you don't love it, then don't do it. So, guys, we'll probably wrap things up now. It's been great, Tom. It's been a real pleasure, and thank you for saying you'd like to come back on again. Steve, thanks for coming on again as well. Steve, and thank you for showing your images as well. And Dan, as ever, thank you for showing your images. And I know you're working as well, so really appreciate you coming on tonight. Doug, love your books. And it's good that Doug's got one of his books being purchased by a man just above him on the screen. He has got one of his books. He has purchased it.
Excellent.
Someone's
and of course,
lashed out. I'll get paid for that. That's good.
You got an affiliate link on that or anything? Affiliate link. You put an affiliate link out. So Louise, thank you as well. And that picture of the church in Slovenia, the 1x1 crop, is going to stick in my head for a bit. So I'm going to have to decide what thumbnail I'm going to use with pictures. There's so many top ones. So guys, thanks. And people watching, you guys, we really appreciate you coming on, and especially making it so far to this. You know what? Really appreciate you guys watching. Hope you have a good photography week. Keep shooting, guys. Thanks for coming on. Have a lovely evening. Take care. And God bless. That's just a bit cheesy. God bless. Well, we'll say it in Scottish. What Scottish folk says? Cheery bye.
I approve. As an ex-RE teacher, I approve of that. That'll do.
Yeah, cheery bye in Scotland. That's what we say. Cheery bye.
Laters, isn't it? Laters.
Laters, yeah. That's all top common now. Come on.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for a lovely evening. Tom, it's been cracking to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Louise.
Yeah. I've got to go and talk to my husband because we haven't talked for about 2 hours and he gets...
Yeah, we're going anyway.
Which is totally understandable.
Okay, guys. On that note, see you later.
Yeah. Thank you, Tom.
Nice to meet you, Tom. Bye-bye. Nice to meet you all.
Bye-bye.